Well, once again, those lovely folks at pole position have packed off Rosanna somewhere nice. In this case, to the Daytona 500 in Florida, where she will be wearing a cowboy hat. Watch out for all the videos coming from there. As you can imagine, we're not there. We're in a green screen, and the F1 circus has landed in Barcelona. It's the second round of testing here in the Circuit de Catalunya, and actually it's much more interesting than the first. This is when they start to bring in race pace, so let's see what's been going on with the teams on the track. Leading out in the front at the moment, by a nosewing, is Ferrari's Fernando Alonso, who secured a promising 1 minute 21.87 seconds lap time during the first half of testing yesterday. It was also Alonso's last day at the wheel of the F138 for this test. He's finished up on a strong note. He also took the time, as have many drivers, to comment on this year's tyre compounds, which appear to be rapidly degrading. More on that to come. Mercedes. The Germans are looking in much better shape after a slightly rocky start to testing back in Jerez. Hamilton himself put in 121 laps on day 2, which means they're starting to get the hang of that consistency factor. He also worked down to a best lap time of 1 minute 22.726. How many stock cars can do that, Rosanna? Not that I'm jealous or anything. It was the 4th fastest testing time so far, and there's obviously been some hard work going into getting the car up to race pace. Nico Rosberg had a few hiccups on day 1, but also managed 108 laps on day 3, so he's managed to notch up a very respectable pre-season mileage of 1,471 kilometres. Well, we've heard from Alonso that tyre composition for 2013 is starting to cause a few problems. Now, as well as Ferrari, they've been finding that in the McLaren camp. Jenson mentioned that whilst it's quick, it is proving susceptible to degrading. The team have produced a car that could be devastatingly fast, and with lap times like Sergio Perez, aka Chico, is 1 minute 21.8 seconds, on paper, that's a lot of confidence. However, JB's come out and said that they'll suddenly lose pace whilst gaining it on the next lap and then losing it again. This might well be because they've taken a really bold approach to developing the car for the 2013 season. They've been pushing it, whilst many teams have essentially evolved their models from the 2012 design. It's actually not a bad position for the team to be in. They've got one of the best engineering teams in the world, and the car's obviously fast too. If they can iron out these issues, then they might well have a championship-winning car. Lotus. The Enstone outfit have been putting in some really consistent performances over this period so far, and they're actually drawing the attention of all the other teams. Sauber's Nico Rosberg has been really impressed, and they've been showing a great combination of speed and consistency, something which actually has escaped some of the other teams so far. It wasn't quite all silky smooth. Kimi Räikkönen was kept off the track for much of the morning on day 2, thanks to a gearbox issue. That said, 119 laps completed by his teammate Grosjean will have restored confidence. Meanwhile, the speculation over Paul de Reste's Force India teammate continues. It appears to have been narrowed down to a race between 2012 reserve driver Jules Bianchi and former Force India driver Adrian Sutil. There's some smart money on Bianchi filling the seat, as he's actually linked with the team's engine supplier, Mercedes. As part of the supply deal with the team, the manufacturer may well offer a lower deal in return for Force India confirming a drive for Bianchi. Williams. Quiet up until now, Williams have started 2013 on a positive note. They only launched at the beginning of this testing session, but Pastor Maldonado has finished testing and said the FW13 is a step in the right direction. Perhaps more telling was his genuinely positive demeanour when speaking to the press. Another smiling presence in the pit lane was Maldonado's colleague, Valtteri Bottas. He's just starting his rookie season in F1, and the team are obviously impressed. Maldonado praising Bottas's race data so far too. There's plenty of work to do for this team, but the midfield competition for the season looks set to be some of the fiercest. Between Williams, Force India and Sauber, it'll be great to see some podium results coming out of this section of the grid. So what's F1 testing, session 2, told us so far in 2013? The good bit is that there's no particular frontrunner. Alonso's leading by a nose cone, but the other teams might soon start to match that. It's going to make for some really exciting competition come Melbourne in a couple of weeks' time, where I won't be, Rosanna will, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel to keep up with her current updates from Daytona and what's going on in F1 up until Melbourne.